Support Rainbow Soul. Check out the Rainbow Soul merchandise for your favorite new shirt. A variety of colors and styles to suit your taste. Show off your love for Rainbow Soul. Get cool designs with your favorite quotes. Designs come in a variety of colors so that you can express your most authentic self. Support Rainbow Soul in spreading the word that queer, gender variant, intersex, transgender is sacred. Rainbow Soul, putting the soul back into queer. Order your unique Rainbow Soul merchandise at rainbowsoul.show.
Bring magic into your life every Sunday night. Play the magic word game at Rainbow Soul. Visit rainbowsoul.show. Subscribe to Rainbow Soul newsletter and watch out for it in your email. Why? Well, inside that newsletter will be a magic word. Some words maybe you never even heard of, and we will explore the definition and history in the show. If you recognize the word, be sure to share your wisdom with Rainbow Soul in your comment. Each newsletter will have a new magic word. If you know the word when we ask for it, you can simply put it in the comments. First commenter gets a free Rainbow Soul sticker. They are round stickers with Rainbow Soul logo, and they say, Rainbow Soul, transgender is sacred. Hashtag Rainbow Soul Vodcast. As well as a queer version and non-binary version printed on high-quality, large circle stickers. The platforms will keep the time of your post, and this will determine who wins. If 2 or more people all say it within the same minute, according to the platforms, everyone gets a sticker. You can win up to 3 different times, 3 different stickers: non-binary, transgender, queer. Rainbow Soul will contact you through message depending on the platform you commented during the live to get your address/mailing information for your sticker. We do not share any of this information, including your email. You will receive Rainbow Soul newsletter, but you can always unsubscribe if you choose.
Welcome to Rainbow Soul, a live show and podcast in search of deep answers and medicine about consciousness, spirituality, witchcraft, natural magic, and queer, inclusive spiritual paths of many varieties. We will explore the use of herbs, candles, colors, and nature in our personal lives, as well as queer-inspired rituals designed with transgender and non-binary people in mind. We are welcoming all pagans, indigenous two-spirits, witchy folks, conscious seekers, and people off the beaten path who want to explore the human spiritual experience that we are all capable of having. With a deep reverence in anti-racist values, inclusivity, and a healthy and honest respect for our ancestors, Rainbow Soul brings diverse guests and topics all related to queer spiritual experience. Tap into this amazing resource live and find a supportive, safe environment while exploring interesting topics and diverse guests. Listen on your favorite podcast platform and catch the show at your convenience and still participate in the contest and games. Get more information about games and contests at our website, rainbowsoul.show. rainbowsoul.show. Thank you for tuning in to Rainbow Soul.
Hello, welcome to Rainbow Soul. I'm Hollis Taylor. I'm one of your hosts today on Rainbow Soul, and I'm an author, I'm a witch, I'm a mental health coach, and a psychic and an astrologer, and excited to be here on Rainbow Soul. And this is my wonderful partner, Bright Hawk.
Well, I'm happy to be back, and I am a Rainbow Soul for sure. I'm happy to get a chance to share this time with you all. I'm a musician and a storyteller and a sound healer and a community leader and a pagan and a baby astrologer. I'm a learning astrologer. I really enjoy astrology. And I'm delighted to get a chance to talk about our next guest. This is a very special artist.
Yeah, I'm excited about today's show. Now, before we go too far, though,
Sure.
let's ground, let's get centered, and let's bring in a little meditation. I just want to help everyone get grounded and centered today so that you can take in new information. So take just a moment, take a deep breath in, breathe in nice and deep, and just blow out. Until you can't blow out anymore. Now, the next time you take a deep breath, drink it in like you're, and then blow it out. I'll just ground and feel your feet and your bottom in the chair, your back, and allow your body, become aware of the body that you are in. Take a deep breath. And blow out. And we're going to set our intention in our hearts to move forward in an open mind and a curious way. And take a deep breath and blow out rainbows. Because all of us are rainbow breathing unicorns.
Why not?
This is my world, friends. This is my world.
Are you ready to start?
Yeah, and just laugh it off, friends. Well, today's guest, I'm kind of really excited about showing this to you guys. Because when I seen the art, I was like, okay, what pride's that going to be at so I can go? Anyway, and I was excited about this person. So let me just introduce you to them.
Yeah.
And here is our guest today, and their name is Dawn. Welcome, Dawn.
Hello, everyone. I am so excited to be here. Hi.
Yeah. Hi, Dawn. Tell us about who you are.
I am, let's see, a traveling hippie from way back. I used to go to rainbow gatherings when you had 20,000 people strong, and it was just amazing. And I pretty much think of myself as a traveling vagabond hippie artist, lover of all. And yeah, in a nutshell.
Resonate with that.
We can totally understand that. We love to travel. Yeah. So, and it looks like along the way you've developed a particular beautiful craft. Is it got official? Does it have a different name other than, I called it glass art because I didn't know what else to call it.
Glass art, fused glass, because it's in a kiln, because everything is fired in a kiln, and it's considered flat glass and not blown glass. So there's like 4 or 5 different categories of it, but I consider it fused glass art.
Okay.
Fused glass art. So almost like ceramics in there.
Almost like ceramics.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Well, wow. So how did you get started? Did you create it, or did you just come across it?
I fell in love with glass ever since I was a little girl. Stained glass and beads. When I was traveling, I still loved glass, but I would just do all sorts of beadwork and be like, I got marbles on a string. Who wants some? back in the day to get by from one place to another. So I was always going to some sort of show, peddling my wares in some fashion, and it was always glass.
Wow, that's beautiful. And so are you LGBTQ? Are you tell us about your identity?
I usually go with her. She usually is fine. I'm kind of comfortable with that. I have, of course, experimented along my travels, and non-binary is absolutely wonderful because, I fall in love with the person, in the heart, and that's the most important. Whether they transition, whether they, decide to do one thing one day, and that I am just all accepting and encompassing and being like, yes, and I will support you and love you all the same. And if you need an extra little bit of oomph, I will take you out and treat you like the princess or the prince that you desire.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and I just because I was really impressed by the one image that you showed us, that you showed me, and I was like, wow, like I could totally see that at a pride show. This image right here. So
Yeah.
this is kind of like one example of what Dawn does, friends. So everybody should be able to see it on the screen. If you can't see it and you're on the podcast, it kind of looks like a half a glass that's just been sliced, like a tall glass that you would drink out of, but it's been sliced in half. And it's colored red, yellow, green, like it looks like the rainbow, red, yellow, orange. But it also has sort of a phoenix imprint on it. Do you like imprint that on there? Do you burn that? How does that get on there?
It's a process called powder printing. So I will lay all the powders on a flat sheet of glass, and then I'll cook it. And then on top of that, I will hand paint the enamels and then
Oh,
fire that again. And then that is slumped over a mold to make a candle votive or an altarpiece. This is very much for my goddesses to transcend. That was the intention behind this piece, because it's just like, bring the fires up, and I want to transcend. We were going through many gateways this summer, since January, and I would hope that somebody would find this on their altar.
Yeah, that's really beautiful. So it sounds like a process in the kiln, and you paint. So you paint the colors.
I'll hand paint. All of the black is hand painted enamels.
Okay.
And all the colors are different glass. So It comes down. It's like, imagine like doing powder sugar cookies, but it's glass. So you're laying a very thick layer of powdered glass on top of a flat sheet, and then you just build it up into the color and the shape and the flames. You can get really detailed in it.
Wow. Well,
wow.
And if you had that on your altar, you guys, and put a candle behind it, you can just imagine what that would look like on your altar, or like in any kind of place like that, like, some sort of celebration or something. And I just can imagine that would be really beautiful. So you make those, and then I also noticed that most of your website has these.
Wow.
Like boxes.
Yep. Boxes have always been kind of magical for me, because along my travels, I would collect little tidbits, or little, like a stone, a rock, a charm, a pine cone. And when I was younger, I thought if I would collect all of these pieces and put them in a box, that I would become powerful. It was like a little time capsule of where I've been and who I am and what I want to become. And a lot of my art, I absolutely love the fact that I think every single one of us is transitioning into the true self that we want to be. And some of us have a longer path of transition. Some of us have a shorter path, but I think we're all transitioning. And I absolutely love the metaphor, whether it's physically, mentally, spiritually, and my art speaks to that. I have a lot of goddess pieces. I also do divine masculine too, because that needs to be heard as well and loved.
Yeah, for
So,
sure.
there needs to be a lot of love there.
Yeah, exactly. So let's talk about a little bit about the spiritual part of you. It sounds like as a traveler, you were sort of called to collect things, and I totally get that as a traveler myself. But like what kind of how would you identify your spirituality? How would you talk about it?
Well, I would have to say the first love, Native American, because I was able to travel with the Lakota Sioux and all the ceremonies and the songs I know. Whenever I fall on hard times, I will sing my songs and pray. And then very much a pagan. And then most recently, I have been discovering my Strega roots.
What does that mean?
Strega is an Italian witch.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
And
neat.
I'm researching my own family's bloodline and history.
Oh, that's cool.
And it took a long time to come back on it. And I'm approaching 50 in a couple of years. And I recently found out that that's when you start getting all of your Strega powers and all of the different things. And I'm very much a witch, a natural witch. My friends call me all the time. I think I have prayed to the water and to the sky ever since I was little because it made sense.
Right?
It's kind of like, duh.
It just makes sense.
I love that. I do love that.
It also makes sense that you come into your power in your 50s. In that I think that there's almost all of witchcraft kind of feels that way because of the way we talked about cronehood. Although the most recent way of talking about it I've heard is that there's actually because we're living longer now, there's a step between motherhood and crone, which a lot of people seem to call a sovereignty.
Yes, or queen. I love the queen crown. And I've been to a lot of women's gatherings that honor the queen aspect.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is very important because there's a lot of us that our children are grown, but we're not ready for cronehood yet because some of us don't want to teach or we're still learning, or some of us have had a longer journey to get where we are. For whatever reason, it sometimes happens that way. You take the long way around. It's very fun, but you're 50 and going, oh, wow, okay, there's this.
I appreciate that most witches are pretty open to my perspective as I go through the final change, as some of us would call it. Some of us just call it plain old menopause.
Yeah, there's that too.
Usually happens somewhere around 50. And there is a coming into your power
for sure
because you're in pain. Usually you have to end up putting yourself first. So if you have a person in your life that's between about 40 something and 50 something, they all of a sudden start making choices that you're like, what the hell? That's probably what's going on. Mm-hmm. There seems to be some lessons that start to get harvested about putting yourself first, about honoring yourself and loving what you offer to the world. And I think that's like really the beautiful thing. I call myself, I say that I'm stepping into androgyny because I feel like I was born, into a female body, and I did live a female life. For a long time, I tried to, be a female. I tried to be a woman. I wasn't very good at it. I ended up being, like a Boy Scout leader, and taking boys camping every weekend. So that was my role as a mother, and eventually ended up with all the awards from them, and then walking away from them because they hate gays. And then I'm like, what? And but that's what happened, and then eventually I figured out that I was non-binary, that I was actually feeling like both. And that was in my 30s. And the interesting thing is that in my 30s and 40s, I was doing a lot of yoga. And I would pray to the divine to help me better express. And I was in drag. I was a drag king. but to better express my duality, my masculine and feminine side, that I felt people only seen the feminine side. They didn't see the masculine side. And to present that way. And then like I felt like I socially changed, I emotionally changed, I mentally changed, transitioned. I chose not to really physically transition. And then my body decided to physically transition. And I started to realize that menopause was actually leading me into androgyny.
I absolutely love the androgyny because throughout my life, I have, everybody's like, wow, you're a real, you're masculine. You have a lot of masculine energy. And I'm just like, okay, yeah, I can kick your butt. I usually kind of, say like crass comments like, yeah, my balls are bigger than yours. Yes, it is true. And I was like, I can do anything, camping, hunting. I mean, very masculine activities. I am perfectly happy and at home with it. And I do love my skirts and shoes. So it's just like, I love the non-binary too, because it does just fit. And, I was the main breadwinner financially in my household for many, many years. So I had to, and I raised a single mom. So I understand it's just like, had to learn how to get your asking price in the workforce, hitting all of those marks where you're condescended to and making sure that it's just like, okay, this is the hand I am dealt. However, I will do my research and I will come back and give you the proper, answers to get where I need to be. And holding both of those roles, having to be strong and still in this body.
Mm-hmm.
And, and a lot of my art sings to that too, because it's, we have to fight that every single day. Mm-hmm. It's something that we all do. And I'm really, one of the things that I really hope is that wherever somebody's at in their life, if they grab a piece of my art, it helps them through their day. It reminds them that they are strong. Sometimes people have, they're at the middle part of their life, right? And they're just like, man, I sacrificed 10 hard years to my career and I own this now. And they want to celebrate it. And there's other people who are barely peeking out going, this might be me. I don't know. Is it safe? Is it? And it's just like, yes, I see you here. This is for you.
Right.
You are seen.
I love what Eve just said. My favorite quote from a woman a number of years ago is my senior is, I have balls so big I carry them on my chest.
Yes. Yes.
Good one.
Oh my God.
Good one.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's so great, Eve. Thank you for reminding us of, I think most of us have heard that at least once or twice.
But it's still,
I've actually said that because I have large chests. And yeah, and I think that the gender roles are kind of outdated at this point, and I think it's clear that, thank goodness for the gender revolution, so we can get away from gender, because I actually don't think it's good for anyone, including cisgender people on either side. Yeah. Men, it oppresses their emotions, and women, they tend to not feel empowered, and non-binary people and trans people are lost in the middle.
Yeah. And I don't like anybody being lost. I like to, ever since I was little, I always enjoyed sticking up for the underdog, because it's just like, no, you seem cool and odd. Yeah, I'm going to, punch that dude in the face. Come on, let's go have some ice cream,
Yeah, exactly.
It is just like, that's kind of how I felt about it. But, there's one quote that just keeps niggling at me, so I have to say it. And it's really interesting, especially with all the astrology that's been going on since January, is that, we are so strong that we are helping heal the divine masculine now too, which is really important, because they're still the ones that, tip the scales, that we still have to butt up heads against to try to get equality on any level. Mm-hmm. And then there's all the people who fall through the cracks that need to be shielded with wings and brought up too. We're only as strong as our weakest link, and we need to preserve.
Yeah, I've thought a
Yeah.
lot about that, and I totally agree with you. And I also think that like women have been going through like the red tent, and there's been all of these huge programs for women empowerment for the last, I don't know, 20 years. Um and there hasn't been a whole lot of that for men.
No.
Well, there is a men's movement.
Now, yeah,
You know, the
yeah.
men's. I don't remember the name of the men's circles, but they've been going on for a long time.
Okay.
There's the one is the Mankind Project.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
And I think that's in many different states.
Yep. Yep.
So, and I've seen some good things come from that. But there does need to be more of that. I mean, but I think that, you know, of course, we're going to be leading the pact on that. Of, you know, as far as healing ourselves, making sure that all of us get heard. You know, every single person. So, and we're not going to leave anybody out. We're going to make sure to rise, and then men will follow. It will be very interesting. The script is going to get flipped. It just has to. I mean, I know we have to get up our signs and our picket lines again, but
Well, hopefully intersex people will be able to integrate as well, because
yes,
doing surgery for intersex people upon birth is ridiculous.
well,
So
yes.
So people outside the binary can exist. They already do. We've just been pretending that they don't for however long. And that's kind of like my thing is like, come on, you guys. This has been going on for a long time. This is not new. This is not a style. This is not a fad. And so I just really appreciate though what we're talking about here is that the gender and how it's unwinding. And you're right. The Me Too movement was sort of the beginning of the end, not the end, but the beginning of the healing for the divine feminine. And now here we are, where the divine masculine now has to step up to a similar level. Yeah. We're kind of having to change.
I really do. And it's, it's going to be really interesting with the political backlash that we're seeing right now, how that's going to see which men rise up and say no, which companies rise up and say no, which people who have, social, what's the best way to say it? Social clout would be good. I mean, for the men who have a voice, who have podcasts, who have YouTube channels. What about mentioning something about that, bringing it to, it's just like, this is something that is important. You have daughters, yes. How about bringing this to the attention of everybody that you're speaking to? Because, what is your clientele and how can you bring this awareness? I mean, that's always kind of been, whether it be, I've tried to pick at that one for a long time.
Yeah, and right now the political climate for so I'm just going to speak out to all the queers that are listening right now. I know that it's scary right now because there are things being turned over, and there are laws in some states that they make Bright Hawk's book kind of illegal, by the way. So I'm just going to say that. And, and that it makes it scary for all of us queers, all of us. I mean, we're married and we don't want that to change. And I know that there are other couples out there and queers, and I know a lot of trans people are worried about access to their hormones and things like that. And I'm just going to say, just hold on and have faith. If you're in a state that is really difficult, I do encourage you to find a way out. If you can find a way out, do it. So it just makes it really, challenging right now. It feels almost like us trans people are becoming illegal, like we're going backwards again. I know that's not what's happened, but it feels that way.
It sure does. And it is scary for, I have family that is trans, and it is scary for them.
Yeah.
And, it's making sure it's like where they live and work and, getting their medications, getting the medical attention that they need. It's an everyday real thing that you shouldn't have to fight on that particular front. You're spending all of that energy fighting on that front when you could be exploring and becoming more whole.
Right.
And that gets me too sometimes. And I worry, and it does feel kind of scary out there, but I do believe that there are so many different ways, like this podcast and a lot of other communities reaching out and continuing this movement. I mean, one person to one person, we're just keeping that going. We've gotten us this far so far. So
That's right. Exactly. So I'm hoping that even if we do take a step backwards, we'll take lots of steps forward. So just keep your faith. And our lawyer in the crowd, Eve, is in law school, and they
Awesome.
said if they throw out precedent, then everything is up to the whim of the judges. Yeah, so that's unfortunate. Yeah, and I just don't know what's going to happen, and it's very scary for all of us. Just keep praying, my friends. Just keep pushing your energy towards our government figuring out and doing the right thing. We all know what the right thing is. Love is the right thing. And so on that note, I think we're going to go ahead and take our break with the best love singer I've ever heard. She's always singing about love and peace and beautiful things. So
Okay, so now I feel like I've been set up to do the love song, but I was going to do a story, which is totally different.
Do the story.
Well.
So, Bright Hawk's going to do a little story for us, and I hope everyone can enjoy it. Oh, I love your stories.
Oh, this is just a short little silly. But before any story can begin, we have to call out to the spirits of the story. A story. Let it come. Let it go. Now, this is the story of once upon a time, a long time ago. How long ago? The beginning of creation. And at the beginning of creation, the Creator created on the first day. What did the Creator create? The dog! And the dog was given the following instructions by the Creator. Okay, I have created you to bark, to play, to guard the house, make sure you greet everyone that passes by. And for your lifespan, I'll give you 20 years. And the dog says, woof, whoa, woof. That's a long time to be barking. Tell you what, I'll take 10 and I'll give you back 10. And then the Creator agreed. And on the second day, the Creator created the monkey. And the monkey was given the following instructions by the Creator. Now, I want you to do tricks, be entertaining, make sure everybody's having a good time. And let's see, I'll give you 20 years. 20 years? That's a long time to be doing monkey tricks. Tell you what, the dog gave you back 10, and so will I. And the Creator agreed. Now, the next day, the Creator created Moo, the cow. And the cow was given the following instructions. Okay, I want you to be in the hot sun, to provide for the farmer's family, make sure everyone's taken care of, and I'll give you 60 years. What? Moo! 60 years? That's a long time to be in the sun providing for the farmer's family. Tell you what, I'll take 20. I'll give you back 40. Okay, said the creator. Now on the next day, guess who got created? The human being. And the human being was told the following. Okay, your job is to eat, to sleep, play, have a good time. And we'll give you 20 years. What? Says the human. Only 20 years? Tell you what, I'll take the 20 plus the 40 the cow gave you back, and the 10 the dog gave you back, and the 10 the monkey gave you back, and that makes 80. And the creator agreed. And so that's why, my friends, we spend the first 20 years of our life eating, playing, having a really good time. We spend the next 40 years slaving in the sun, providing for the family. The next 10 years doing monkey tricks for the grandchildren, and the last 10 years barking at everyone that passes by. The meaning of life has now been explained. A story, a story. Let it come. And let it go. There you go.
Thank you. Aww.
In the land of Africa, there lives a hippo who learns to overcome being different through an ecstatic dance experience. Sometimes life is sweet, and sometimes life stings. It's up to you to decide. What are you willing to be? Asks the honeybee. The firefly reminds us that only you can shine your light. The butterfly speaks of the wonder of transformation, while the moon helps the hippo feel a confident glow. Find out what happens in a hippo dance trance. This beautifully illustrated book presents expressive artwork through gender-neutral characters that deliver messages about being yourself, perspective, and personal transformation. Order today at brighthawkproductions.com.
Welcome back. I love your stories, Bright Hawk. That's one of my favorite ones, actually. I mean, I don't know. I like them all, I guess. Maybe I have a lot of favorites, but that's a really good story, and I appreciate that. I appreciate that one. It always makes me laugh. And I want to say, speaking of a great storyteller, there is a word, there's a magic word. So if you know the magic word, if you got it out of the email I sent out earlier this week, you can put it in the chat, and I'll get a record of that. I'll announce it on the show if you do it in the next few minutes. If not, if you're watching this recorded later or listening to the podcast, please send a message or a comment on the video, because I don't always have someone that commented. And look at that.
And prizes are fun. Everybody wants prizes.
Right, exactly. And look at this. Eve.
Yeah. Good job, Eve.
Eve. I see that you got it. Captivate. They did it in 2 posts. So great job, Eve. And thank you so much for being a loyal and excellent viewer. And you're always interacting and asking good questions. And that's why we appreciate you so much. And that you're loyal and you're here every week, and we appreciate you. So yes, the word was captivate, and I chose captivate because I felt captivated by the art. I was like, wow, this is so cool. So I want to welcome back. Let's bring back out Dawn. Welcome back, Dawn. Hi, welcome back. And oops, you're muted. There we go. So I want to say that I really appreciate you being on the show and sharing about your spiritual path. When you create art, does it help you in any way? Like, I mean, other than being able to sell it, right?
Oh, absolutely. I would do this whether or not I made a dime from it because I'm just compelled. Um, it helps me communicate, and sometimes I really feel like it helps me channel to have the messages coming through. And that's something that I'm working on. It's something that I felt a little unsure about, but some of the pieces, and I have some new pieces that are coming out that I'm just like, well, this is, how can you say anything other than that? You step aside and you're like, okay, a voice needs to come through me. And I very much wanted to do a series on the muses.
Mm.
Where does the inspiration come from? How do you receive that? And what do you do with it? And, depends on where we are. Sometimes it gets misconstrued. I mean, it's like, you hear a voice and you're like, am I supposed to go this way and that way? And I've done plenty of coyoteos, and man, I don't wish to do any more of that, but a lot of us do. That's how we learn. But yeah, it's been channeling. It helps me. It helps me focus. It helps me ground. It helps me in my day-to-day life. So yeah.
I was one of my early memories as a child was my grandmother had a glass window box that was filled with glass shelves, and she had all of these different colored glass vases, platters, bowls, whatever. They're beautiful, and they used to make the room just dance with color. And as a little kid, that was just magic, and
Mhm.
so, and we recently had a guest that was talking about chakras and seeing colors. So can you talk about your process as an artist and your relationship with color and vibration and what that is for you?
Absolutely. This is my favorite. I have so many colors to choose from, and I'll sit there and I'll pull pieces, and then I'll ask us like, okay, what is the piece going to say? What's the movement I want? What energy pattern do I want to convey? And also, I think about the reciprocant. I think about who every box I make, I know for a fact has an owner searching for it who needs that message. And well, what do they need? Do they need a little bit more of fire, or do they need
Mm.
to speak their true voice? Does it need to be more blue? Or are they really trying to like, receive messages, to hear or be in receiving mode? Sometimes it needs to be very gentle and pastel to be open to receive. And that's not always talked about a lot, because being in receiving mode, you're not active. And I have trouble with that because I'm always active. But and I really try to convey that. So the process, I do use the chakras, I do breathe through everything, I do use the energies. A lot of it is line work of energy, color, what I'm trying to convey. Do I want somebody to feel powerful? Do I want somebody to feel like they can transition and bloom into who they truly are becoming? Are they on the top of the mountain and celebrating, or are they kind of sitting back and questioning? I mean, it's like any of those things. And each one does have a color combination that I do enjoy adding to that and helping people, or at least I hope it helps people. I do have one favorite story. I was at Lakeview East, one of my favorite art shows, and it was a ballerina box, and it was pink, kind of this color scheme.
Mm.
And she basically just came from her therapist's, and she was like, my therapist said that I should go join ballet, and because I always wanted to be a ballerina. And she started crying, and she's like, and it was a music box and it had a classic song, and she was just like, oh my gosh. And she's just like, she was trying to hand me some garbage, and I was like, I'll take that. She's like, if you can throw this out for me, I'll buy the box. And she's like, this is all my inner child, this is supposed to be. And she was crying, and we hugged, and it was beautiful, and that was meant for her. And that's what it's all about. I mean, yes, getting the money for the art is beautiful, but that connection is where I live. And the past couple of years have been hard because I've been trying to connect, and I haven't had that. And it threw me for a loop, and I didn't know how to talk to people. I was kind of amazed. I'm like, me?
Mm-hmm.
It was just like it threw everybody for a loop. But finally, art shows are opening up, and I get to actually talk to people and find out what they want. And sometimes I'll hear a story from somebody, and I will just instantly get inspiration. Like there might be a rainbow unicorn box coming soon.
Okay, because that's kind of my thing, rainbow unicorns.
So I just, a little picture came in my mind, so I had to jot down a note. So stuff like that, yeah.
That's so cute. So it sounds like each piece is unique, that you
Yeah.
don't do like, okay, now I'm going to do 15 unicorns,
No.
Each one's like coming into its own special creation and flow and energy.
Yeah.
And that's what magic pieces are, right? Your intention meeting their need. And
yeah, there's a lot of magic in boxes anyway. And Eve has a really good question. They asked if they said, I'm curious what kind of kiln you use, and do you use it while on the road?
Oh, wow.
I would have loved to take my kiln work on the road, but it's heavy. It's called it's an even heat kiln, and it goes up to 1500 degrees. And it's a 14 by 14. That's about as far as I can go. They have bigger ones, but that's just what my studio can hold and my electrical can hold for right now. And man, if I could take it on the road, I would love to. I mean, I thought about tiny house living, but I'd need to pull a studio and a tiny home.
Wow.
Yeah, you'd probably need 2 tiny homes, one of them empty, to be your studio.
Exactly. I thought about it. I really tried the logistics, and I'm like, never mind.
Well, and there could be ways to do it that you may just not have discovered quite yet.
Not quite yet. Yes. I mean, I have, one of my partners lived in a yurt without running water or electricity for quite some time. And it's a very tranquil place. And I was just like, I could do this. My art would be different. I would trade glass for, say, watercolors, but I'd still be doing the same thing. The message and the, conveying everything using the colors and the line work would still be the same.
Yeah, I want to take a closer look at the box you have there. If you could just show it so everyone can see, and I want to describe it for a minute. On the front, there's sort of, it looks like kind of like flames. So it's kind of white glass top, and it has red flames coming out. Is that a goddess in the middle there?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm just explaining it for the people that are only listening on the podcast. And it opens, yes? And it has pink sides. It's a beautiful little box. And that's just an example. I just wanted you guys to see that each piece is unique and special. And if you go to Dawn's website, D Donati, it's DDONATI.com. If you go to her website, you quickly will see that they're all different and they're all unique. And I think that's what makes it really interesting, especially from a magic perspective. If you have something you want to put in the box, or you want to put your tarot cards in there or something like that, because it looks like most of them would fit tarot cards.
Yeah.
Or most decks. Anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. That's one of the things that I absolutely love is they are, in my mind, most everything I create is for the altar. It's because little did I know when I was young, I was building altars. And I'd put on my little stuff here, and I'd have it just so, and it just kept growing and growing. I'm like, oh, that's what I was doing. Oh, good to know.
Isn't it interesting what we innately take up?
Yeah. And it's just and a lot of them are magical pieces, and I do custom orders as well. And sometimes one of my favorite things is to add crystals inside, on the lid top, so you can it has a compartment where you could put a crystal in, so it's charging if you want, and different things like that. Sometimes that really appeals to it. I love doing tarot boxes though, because it's just you have any kind, masculine, feminine, any kind of thing that you're trying to convey. I mean, and something, it just is also a reminder. You want to be reminded of something every day as you go through your day and your life. It's just no, I am good. I am good enough. I am enough.
Or that my unique expression is beautiful, which is,
Exactly.
like vomiting rainbows by unicorns is beautiful to me.
Yeah.
I was going to say,
Sorry.
popped it right out of my
Sorry. Sorry about that.
Oh man. Yes, you're worthy. You're worthy of love, and having
Yes.
a beautiful box to put it in is really little touchstones are great reminders.
Yeah.
Really
Yeah,
great
and
reminders.
Eve said the ones I've looked at, I think Eve's talking about kilns that they looked at, I kind of figured would be a nightmare for an RV setup. Eve, I would guess yes, because
The
I've lived in a
energy.
van. Brighthawk and I lived in an RV van for like 5-6 years, and electricity is kind of, you want to be very careful about how much electricity you use. Like, yeah, you can charge your phone and your computer and stuff, but like refrigerators, and like that's why we all get little refrigerators, little refrigerators instead of a full size. And that's why, because the electricity is hard to come by usually on the road. And so I think the only way I could think of, Dawn, that you could do it is if you knew people with kilns, and while you were traveling, you
Right.
stopped at their house, did some kiln work, and then moved on.
I bet I could start something if I really wanted to. I mean, you guys are in Denver, and D&L Glass is in Denver, and they're a very welcoming glass company. And if I ever needed to fly by, and
Wow.
I could possibly do that. It would be very interesting. Anything is feasible.
Are folks that work with glass, is it a community?
Yeah, we have quite a few communities of glass artists, and because I have traveled, I do know that in Portland and in Northern California and Denver, in Indiana, let's see, New York, and Michigan. Those are the glass artist families that I have that you could go to and hang out and do kiln work, or check out them making glass, which is always mesmerizing. So yeah, I still do travel.
It's kind of amazing what's happened in the glass artistry industry in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
I mean, it used to, I don't know, it felt more underground kind of, and there'd be little specialty shops in tourist towns or something, but now it's like really getting its recognition and high fine art in museums, and the variety of the medium is just kind of blown my mind.
Yeah. And Sandy, just by the way, Dawn, take it in, because somebody
Awesome.
loves your Sandy said, oh my gosh, her work is beautiful. I've just been checking out her website.
It's really the best way to see it.
Yeah. Go to the website and you'll get to see all kinds of examples. And I was wondering, have you ever used recycled glass? Is there anything that you can recycle using your group,
You could use any kind of glass. Like if you say get the Riesling bottles, the pretty blue bottles. I could use that, but you're limited to the bottle. You cannot mix and match from other glasses because it loses its quality. It will shatter or break. So you can use any glass that you get as long as it's from the same batch, so it can anneal at the same time. And that's something else for a fellow astrologer that I've been doing. I love taking the different moon phases and annealing the glass, because all the crystals in the glass line up to make it strong like Pyrex. So when I go through the annealing process, like one of the last full moon, it was new moon partial solar eclipse, I did a portal piece. And I thought, I was just like, out of all the pieces I could have done, that's what wound up in the kiln. When I was giggling, I go, okay, that was just fated. So I let it ride, and I love annealing it. And that's something that I'm trying to work on and develop to, when I do have a piece, like if I'm doing, say, a real earthy, fiery, maybe Aries piece, I will have that and do it in that moon or do it in that sun or have it at the height of the astrology and anneal that piece. I'd be like, well, it has to translate somehow, right? I'm hoping. At least we'll see, I'm just like, it's something that I was thinking about because you can make talismans. There's so many different possibilities, but I'm like, yeah, I'm just scratching the surface on thinking about that more.
Yeah, I had a friend that used to collect broken glass, like little pieces, and then I guess make like stained glass things, which I thought was pretty cool way to use broken glass in another way. And I was like, "Whoa, that's pretty awesome." Yeah.
It is. It's fantastic. I mean,
Glass
endless
is so amazing.
possibilities. Yeah, I mean, Earth
Yeah.
ships in the desert using the glass bottles as an insulator.
That's a great example.
It is perfectly, I mean, like I love that. If I'm a Midwest girl, I kind of like humidity, oddly enough. But I mean, if desert living was a possibility, I would totally have that as an Earth ship. I mean, that would be, there's so many things that you can do with glass. When I see piles of like glass in the recycle yards, I'm like, oh,
Great, you wonder. Exactly.
Weird question. My brain wants to know, at what point does glass become liquid again, where you can play with it again?
Usually it starts melting at around 1300 degrees. All the edges start softening up. And at 1490, it's liquid. It's mushy. I mean, if you can it's honey consistency.
Right.
And
Watch friends do it a torch, do beads on torches and stuff.
Yeah, that's about. And torch work, it's a little hotter too. I mean, they can go up to like 1500 they have the borosilicates that run a little hotter that have really cool colors. If I could ever play with that, that would be lovely. But flat glass is a little bit different, but yeah, that's something that's always a mesmerizing process, and I love it. So yeah, I think about that because it has all the elements.
Right.
If you want to think about it, it has it has the liquid, it has air for the breath, it has the sand for the earth, and it has fire.
It's total alchemy right there.
Total alchemy right there.
Yeah.
Wow. And it looks like your friend or someone that must be familiar with your work, Deanne.
Hi, Dee. Love you.
Posted a link of one of, I'm going to assume her favorite boxes. So you guys can look in the comments if you want to see that. Right now, I'm going to say thank you, Dawn. Thank you for bringing your art and making the show just interesting to talk about. Who knew we could put glass art and magic together, but we can.
Yeah.
And I appreciate your stuff, like I appreciate your art. I appreciate what you're doing in the world. And if there was someone out there that wanted to get started doing your art, could they reach out to you?
Absolutely. They could, I have a Facebook page. They can feel free to leave comments. They could message me. Absolutely. I love exchanging ideas because that's what fills our cup. So absolutely.
Yeah. And it's beautiful to, I think, help somebody get started in something new in an art form or something like that they're interested in. And art's a great way to express yourself, friends. And it is really important to remember that when we see other people's art, when we do our own art, that it's okay to express your soul in that, even if the moment is dark. And if the moment is light or you want to bring something into your world and you're trying to manifest it, art is an excellent way to do that.
For sure.
Yeah. And everybody has their own way. See,
Absolutely.
Thank you, Bright Hawk, for bringing a beautiful story into today's Rainbow Soul. And, even I have my own way. And Dawn, I really appreciate what you brought for us today. And thank you for being here. I'm going to do a little tarot reading, my friends. I've been shuffling the cards. This is the Pride deck that you can find online. And this is, each card is done by a different LGBTQIA artist. And I appreciate collaboration in art so much that this deck is just perfect for me to read for all of you. So I hope that you guys just take what you like and leave the rest. And no worries. And I'm going to try to hold this up so everybody can see the images here. This here is our card from the past. And this is about what we've overcome. This is about overcoming emotional trauma. This is about changing the way we see things and perspectives and processing emotions. That's really what this is about. This is about healing ourselves emotionally, physically, mentally, like on a whole holistic level, all the ways that we come through on that. Okay? And that's from the past. So spirit is trying to remind you of some growth that you've had recently in the last year or two. Spirit is reminding you of that. And I agree, Sandy. Isn't that great artwork? I totally agree. This artist is Gneedman. So it's beautiful artwork. If you take a look at the moon, you guys see the moon? The moon is kind of like, yeah, I guess you overcame me. Like almost like the shadow part of it, because it's over in the darker part of the card, almost saying you're heading towards the sun and you're no longer letting me control you. And so I think that's pretty special. And the next card is actually kind of an abstract, which I appreciate abstracts because everyone can see their own thing. And this is the Hermit. This is about finding yourself and being alone. So if you have found that you've had to move away from some people, or for whatever reason you have ended up alone or spending more alone time with yourself, that's okay. Know that in that alone time usually comes art, and most artists would agree that a little bit of alone time helps you actually. And that's what this is a reminder of, that being alone is not a bad thing. It's actually could help you express your art and where you're going in the world. And the future, so that's right now. So, the past is the emotional overcome. The right now is, okay, so maybe you have some alone time and you're learning to get in touch with your art. And in the future, this is all about power. This is about wielding your power. This is about walking in your journey. This is about bringing your power forth to the world. This is a Queen of Wands. And she, in particular, you can see she's a lioness. Let me just bring it a little bit closer. You can see she's a lioness there. And I'm hoping it will unblur, but she also has a wand in her hand. And those wands have, like, when she's doing this, flames are coming from it, fairies and things like that. So this is all about stepping into your power and flying forth with whatever you have to offer the world. And all art is valid. All of you are valid. And I'm valid. And so is Bright Hawk. And so is Dawn. So I just want to say that thank you, my friends, for listening today. And I appreciate you loving, sharing this live. And please share it. Please invite your friends. Tell your friends about Rainbow Soul. And I appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you for subscribing and tuning in every week.
Thank you. This was great. You do a great job.
Thank you so much for having me, guys. It's been wonderful.
Thank you. And we appreciate you so much, Dawn. And I hope we get to keep up with your art as you grow. And I'm sure they can find out what shows they'll be at your website, where they can find you in the Chicago area, right?
Absolutely. And, I'll be messaging you guys if I'm ever in Denver.
That's fantastic. Great. Make sure you do. All right, friends. Good night.
Thanks.
And have a fantastic day. And remember, you are valid just the way you are. You are perfect just the way you are. We love you. And if you need a parent to say that we love you, I love you just the way you are. Period.
Take it in.
Take it in. Take it in your heart. Swallow it. Somebody loves me just the way I am.
Yay.
Good night, my friends. Happy Queer Day.
Thank you for watching Rainbow Soul. We are so grateful for your presence and listening in this past hour. Be sure you're subscribed. And get notifications so you can join us and catch us every Sunday night. here live. We appreciate you sharing, commenting, reacting, and inviting others to the show. This is a show for you, so tell us, who would you like to see on the next show? What topics inspire you? You can always find replays, more about the host, blog posts, merchandise, information about games and contests, and social media links at rainbowsoul.show. We love to show our gratitude with fun and games and contests with prizes that celebrate who we are as a community. Rainbow Soul holds the intention to explore consciousness and spirituality in cultures with a deep reverence for cultural roots, equality, and inclusion. We are always striving to recognize the spiritual medicine available to all of us in the modern world. We hope that you walk away knowing that you are perfectly valid in whatever identity you embrace for yourself and that you are sacred just as you are. Thank you so much for tuning in to Rainbow Soul. Divine Androgen, a sacred path for gender-variant people. This book details Hollis's story, including some insights into their traumatic childhood, their gender experience, and how they now celebrate empowerment as a non-binary person in a binary world. Hollis details a path for gender-variant people for personal empowerment, acknowledging that all paths, all queers, are sacred. There is nothing wrong with anyone that is queer identifying. This book supports any kind of transition, gender fluid people, queer folks, transgender people, anyone bending the binary. This book supports healing from our past, defining our truth, and harvesting our authenticity. This book supports the spiritual part of the journey and lands in your own expression of authenticity. A path of consciousness, not religion. This book is not religious and is in no way related to Christianity except perhaps in opposition. Choose empowerment. Choose to honor your divine androgen. Order today at www.divineandrogen.com.